How do I make this go? No, not working. Come on. My voices never share. There we go. There we go. Back. Maybe. Blank screen. Blank screen. Hmm. Got 2 views. Don't know if this is actually working. All I've got is a black screen. Can anyone see anything on my screen? Hmm. Right. Dun, 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 dun. Still just a black screen. Maybe it's time to upgrade my computer. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. What happened even? Talking in the Discord right now. Okay. All I see is a blank screen. What else did you hear from the influencers? I don't know. I got a black screen. But I think I can hear you type. Influencers, well, most of them right now are basically just talking about how it's all going to shit. I can hear you. Okay. So, why have I got just a black screen? um, yeah, I don't really know how to fix this. YouTube sucks. Maybe it's my software that sends the things. I don't know. Yeah, disconnect, reconnect again, and see what happens. Okay, come on. Give us a picture. You know? Hello. Um, audio is fine. So audio is fine, but picture's not. Yeah. Okay, what about now? Got anything? Can you see a table of numbers? There's some stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so we might be back. All right, cool. Let's see where we are. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Yes, back. Good, 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 good. Well, maybe not so good sitting under there, but it's a daily. Room to bounce. Nasty clothes. Okay. Well, that's not a bad place to close. From a 15-minute perspective, anyway, but. Come on. Don't troll us. Go up. Hmm. Come on. Yeah, super boring. I'd like to know what created that bounce down there. So if I was scalping on the 15-minute, first thing I'd do is wait for it to have some kind of big move. So, like, let's look at this. This is clearly big move. And then I'd look for some kind of scalp after the big move. Normally, what you end up getting is you get big move, and then you get range compression. So something created that, which is whatever back here. So you get this kind of range compression. So if you're dealing with lower time frames, what you've got to do is wait for the first dump, first hold, start to look at this as your first trade, which would have been TP there. This level you'd only find by looking back here. And technically that, that wouldn't, well, I would take my TP here, but that's called being risk adverse. It went lower, but I would have taken my TP there. And the next trade I would have taken would have been this one here, back to here, moving along. Next trade. Here. Wouldn't be taking it back further than here. So it's starting to compress, and you can see it's not really much of a trade from that point to that point. If it breaks over this, then it's looking to move up. So you'll be looking to take a TP in here. But yeah, getting pretty compressed by this point. So you've always got to be a bit careful about taking trades in compression, because you're kind of at the point where something's going to break one way or the other. Wait for it. Wait for it. TP done. Blah, blah, blah. That's how we trade. Now it's really a case of, does it close above this break level and then have another go? So most good trades come about either because you're amazing and you predict this move, this big move, which 99.9% of people are not going to do that. Most good trades that the majority of people get come about after the big move by identifying the range. And that's when you get this to this to this. And then you've seen a reduction in the range. And that's when you start going up. And you go, well, we've got this hold, so I'm going to TP a little bit earlier. And if you just took this trade to this, to this, to this, you'll be a multi-millionaire before you know it. Just got to do that over and over, consistently. But yeah, this to this is, from this fractal perspective, which is 15-minute, is what, 77 to 76.855. This is not enough to cover fees. So, yeah, maybe just enough. Ugh. Two, 5, 7. Let's see. So next area of interest on the 15-minute would be sort of about here. But it doesn't really have a target. You gotta wait and see how this closes. If it closes above, then it might try to break up again. Here it might move pretty limited sort of range. Here you've got a already tested fib trade. Here you've got an in-range origin, so that could target back up here. I mean, there to there. That's about it. You got your 76.5 support, which has kind of been the support through here, but it's already had several bounces. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all I see right now is that there is a massive reason for price to go up. Could it go down first? Absolutely, because that's just the way price is. Like you get these dips like this wick here, and then you get this move to the upside. So this is take liquidity at a discount and sell it. Now, normally when you take liquidity at a discount, you normally sell it at a premium, which would mean higher prices, but it's also possible this is not the discount. So even with that volume that you sort of see down here, which is much higher than the average volume, maybe that's not it. Maybe they want to come here to buy at a discount and go here to sell at a premium. So it's a bit hard to tell looking at what is basically a 15-minute chart. So it's not exactly like the absolute best time frame to be watching for figuring out this kind of stuff. But everything, if you start scrolling through here, is resistance, rejection. It's all just the same. failure to overcome what could create upside. So this is another, just basically another form of resistance. Like this level is polarity. If it closes over here, it has implication to move to the upside, and by closing under it, it does not. So if you're expecting price to go down, then you take profits at these levels because you know it won't close over them. Backside of trend. $39. Hey, that's wrong. Yeah, backside of trend, creating hold levels. Not bullish. Bleeding down. Just not bullish. Could we bounce range level? Yep. Yeah. 76 back to 79? Maybe. Somewhere in the next 5 days, will this pull back up to trend? Go back up to retest prior broken trend? Maybe. It all just looks like capitulation, dumping to get people to sell. There's probably some large buyer right now who's buying all this shit, but it all just sort of looks like we've come from the top side of support. Will we go back up? Most likely. Will we have some amazing rally to the upside? Well, unlikely. Like even if this pulls back up, it's still got resistance that would have to break to be able to travel up. But is there any reason why that has dipped all the way through that trend, other than the fact that it can based on time? No. So yeah, there's still a pretty good chance that there's a recovery from here. Hope is the devil's tool. Yeah. Just the way it's hugging it out. Right. After this drink, I'm going to sleep. Throw your questions. Keep them coming. Keep me awake. You've got approximately 250 mils of vodka left. When's Orange Man talking? Not today. Oh, I see. 2 a.m. tomorrow. Love it. What's he talking about? It's got a little red thing next to his name. Excuse me. Uh, so you're talking about this little wonderful red event. Good little website, this, just in case you're looking, cryptocraft.com. So, no shilling, no referral link, don't get paid, whatever. But just, good for seeing when Trumpy's going to say something stupid, which is probably at 2 a.m. Right. um, let's see. Have you seen the new cotton candy stuff? Um, no. I watched some of the new cotton candy stuff, and it was just kind of like in his first series he talked about how everything is gospel, and then in his second series he talked about different things. So all it said to me was contradiction, and like I think there's such a thing as refinement. So if you're going to say something is gospel, it can't be refined because it just is 100%. If you're going to say something is 60%, then you can refine it to 80, 90, whatever. But yeah, he's kind of gone from this is the way it is to this is not the way it is, and that's a bit tricky to try and wrap my brain around. Um, and a lot of what he says isn't the way it is still seems to be exactly the way it is based on what he first said. So his original content still seems to be very accurate. Um, what you say there? So polarity, confirmation polarity. I haven't actually seen anything I haven't seen him talk about confirmation polarity versus polarity. I mean, polarity is kind of just um, when you see a lower time frame level consistently rejecting or supporting price in the lead up to a higher time frame close, that is kind of like just a early warning sign, aka polarity, that area will become support or resistance. But no, I haven't watched any of his newer stuff on that. Yeah, I've been well. I have found out recently that I was B12 deficient, so that was an interesting turning point in life. to. I've had a couple of 2000 MCG and well, one, sorry, quote, not a couple, one next week, but I've had a 2000 MCG injection of B12 supplement this week, so that's been pretty cool. Everything suddenly looked like high definition. Apparently, you just urinate it all out if you don't need it, but it takes a couple of ginormous injections to um, kick you back into normality. Apparently, yeah, he is a polarized person. Like he's extremely good. Like the what he does on 1 minute time frames is exceptional. Um, but I think it's the same thing I've noticed is you can show people how to refine a trend line and take a trade to a hold. You can show people how origins and breaks bounce, and you can do all that kind of thing. And the problem is eventually people either get successful at it or they fail at it, and they either get bored of it or they embrace it. Um, One way or another, your time is kind of limited. If you actually train people properly, your time is limited, unless more people come along. And I sort of fear a little bit that he's out there changing things up because he's trying to find more people. Maybe, I don't know. It's just weird opinion, I guess. Uh, PayPal chart. PayPal chart. Good question. What are we looking at? Like stocks? PayPal? Is it this? Maybe just tell me exactly which PayPal chart. Uh, yes, B12 and Jew. I was just thinking about that. So you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about like for those people that do not want to stop drinking, what is the absolute best vitamin cocktail that they should probably take and in what quantities? Um, because apparently, like to be fair, it's probably excessive alcoholism that's actually led me to having a B12 deficiency, but it's easy enough to fix. So, so if you could fix it in advance for people that actually just wanted to drink more, you'd probably be on to a winning business. And Origin shows a clean rejection of a break, one touch. Uh, yeah, the stock, please. Which stock? Is a US dollar? This thing? Let's add it. So so to me, an origin level is quite simple. You have some break level, whatever it might be. So let's say this line is the break level. Price touches it, comes up. Next candle does not reach it, does whatever it does. It doesn't matter how many candles don't reach it. It's really about it got touched and then it didn't. Anything that doesn't touch it is what converts it. So, alternate scenarios would be you have a break level, the price hits it again. That's meant to have hit it. Goes down here, fucks around, comes back up, hits it again, hits it again, hits it again. Doesn't matter. It's when it does this and doesn't hit it again. Let's say it does that. That becomes an origin. And the price could do whatever from this point. Like maybe it goes all the way up here. But it's when it comes back to that level that you'd expect that first touch bounce. So hopefully that explains that. PYPL. PYPL. Is that what I added? Don't know. PYPL. NASDAQ. This thing. Okay. Oof. Hey. Hey. Yeah, that looks bad. What are we doing? What are we doing down here? Ouch. So here you go. Break level. Hit. Goes up. Comes down. Hit. Goes up. Now, that's the first touch long. This, on the other hand, is just dying. So see where our trends are. Oopsie. Ouch. Look at this. Look at that. That's just nasty. Yeah. Maybe next week when it does a proper trend break of the support trend and shifts it to the bottom of that wick, which is a reasonable length. So maybe when it shifts to there, retest it, just has to go up. But that's just wow, PayPal. That looks like ass. Break level, break level, break level, hold level, hold level, break, break, hold, It's just not really testing anything. It just looks like dog's balls. The only really long term thing that stands out here is that this is where the volume is. So will it do that? Maybe. I wouldn't say this is dead, and I would keep an eye on this for some kind of rally, but only because the volume is here and the price is shit, and that might mean that this is where people are buying, like building the positions to run the price up. Whoa, I stopped watching the chat for a second. Look at you message stuff. In Dubai and LA, people get B12 injections and drips all the time. Oh, interesting. What are those numbers that appear when you drag the tool to do the support line? Don't know quite what you mean. So this support line is just a date thing. So I'm just saying that this date is the origination of the support trend, origin of support trend, and likewise, I would say that whatever date is up here is the date of the resistance trend. And then what it does is it goes and it works out all the various breaks that happen upside to downside to figure out where support is, and then or downside to whatever might happen to the upside or sideways to work out where resistance is. It stops me from having to sit there and work out every single individual candle, which on a higher time frame like this isn't such a big deal. But if you're trying to do this on a daily or a weekly, this just saves you half an hour's worth of work. It's one of those magical indicators that will become available at some point in the future when everybody other than me decides that things are ready to go. And I stop sending stupid requests to the devs to get them to make changes. Um, hope that answers the question. All software companies are being destroyed. Yeah, I heard that narrative. Uh, Snow, April. Uh, Soonish. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like these indicators probably could have been released a long time ago. There's not a lot that has changed on these in a wee while. I mean, all they're doing is just stuff you could do manually. They're just doing it quicker, and you can set alerts on them, and then therefore you could set it across 200 different tokens and know when to look, like when to bother looking at one is kind of the thing. When do I bother looking at a token? Well, I bother looking at it when it does something significant that is worth looking at. And then this thing is just this is where the real um, magic is. But yeah, still a bit of work. I don't know if this will be released by March, but if it gets released by March, then yeah, awesome. Like it allows you to see all the different time frames that you just can't see on TradingView and all the range levels. And every single day, I'm basically just trying to. I'm basically doing my head in trying to figure out how to prioritize ranges because I see closes, and what I see is I see stuff like this, which is fine, and I understand this. It's like here is a level, and we're going to bounce that level, and I can take along here, and I can TP, wherever the minimum expectation is of this TP, or I can TP earlier, or I can look for a refined level. Like it's all just normal structure, but it's normal structure that exists outside of the standard timeframes that you can see within TradingView. So I get this. The bit I'm sort of struggling with is we get rejections. Like today, we got a rejection somewhere around 65K, and there's a few things that could be like there's a particular level that's like 64,4990, and then there's another really important level that's 65,209. Now we didn't quite reach 65,209, so that makes me think 64,990 for whatever reason has priority over that level. So trying to figure out why one level might hold priority over another is the hardest piece of you know um, intellectual time is probably the best way of wording it, because yeah, it's occupying a lot of brain space. Alternatively, I could just stop doing all this and just long this and take some TP up here and make money. Whew, that's a yawn. That means I'm getting sleepy. More questions or sleep? What is snow? Not now. Oof. What are these things? This is why I do not like stocks. Messy. So you see like a 2 candle range, break level of the range, kind of the origin level here, but still not, hasn't really touched it. So, does it come maybe in the next market, maybe the one after, whatever? But is there like a monthly level here? Probably. Or is that, yeah, monthly? Which actually doesn't have that many days to go, given it's a monthly. Hmm, bearish. Unless that bounces out of there quite soon, that's bearish. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, something has to come out because the market needs to drop. Whatever whatever the narrative is, something needs to break this support because the higher time frame doesn't even see this as support. So, like, if you look at uh, bigger stuff, like let's find something big, big. Okay, let's just start a big, big chart. Big, big. We'll call it big, big. What was the highest time frame short we had in play? Something big, big, right? Um, I think it was that. Maybe that was Sol. Yeah. Let's see, do we get a trade? Actually, it looks. What's the high? The high was of that token. What am I even looking at? Snowflake. I'm looking at something totally random. 404.64. And the low was 23. No, on the open. So I want 241.96. No, I got that wrong. Okay. I really got that wrong. 240.96. Hey, back to front. And so, okay, I should go to bed. 241.96 and 404.64. Welcome. We have now got the right trade. Okay. And let's get rid of label because I don't care about that. All right. So 141. Looking at that. Minimum obligation rejection. Hitting here. Minimum. Now, at that level or below, you also have this origin level. So, yeah, coordinates. What do we got there? We got the low, so that's 128.64. How do we end up on this? Yep. Range, hit, bounced. Yeah, so I'd be looking for entries in here, but not really before. See what happens. Do, 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 do. Eh. Yeah, how do I end up going down that really random tangent? Yeah, whatever. Yeah. What's going on? Right. Um. Okay, I'll forever hold a grudge against you. Uh, you're not. Okay, so I've got approximately 150 mils of vodka to go. It's going to get smaller now. Ooh, there we go. Burp. Sorry, excuse me. Anything anyone else wants to talk about before I probably just go to sleep? It's kind of crazy, the fundamentals of FibLab was um, just based on short this, TP this. That's all it was. Long this, TP somewhere up here, depending on whatever the level was. You know, short this, TP back down here. That was the fundamentals. And when you zoom out to something like a 209-day time frame and you look at your first move, which is 50%, 40, 46, and then let it settle, and you take your next move, which is 56, and then you take your next move, which is 41, and then you sit there and you go, what, like what's the average amount of money you make on fiat in the bank in a year? And even if you bought whatever the hell this thing is, Snowflake, that's an amazing name. Even if you bought the single Snowflake, which has so many things you could. Oh boy, you buy the single. Oh god, don't buy a Snowflake. Okay, like this is like pedophile token. Let's leave this. But oh boy, you can buy a Snowflake and make a whole bunch of money. Closed without saving. Yeah. Yawn. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like long it, short it, long it, short it. It's I think like the thing that the biggest thing people forget is that markets are about compounding. There will always be more money made through compounding. So there's all these sayings that just do my head in. Like people talk about time in the market is better than trying to time the market. And that's just bullshit. It's like trying to time the market, if you understand how to time the market, will always give a better result than time in the market. It's the same thing you get when people talk about, say you own, $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and you watch it go from $1 million to $5 million just to watch it come back to $2 million. And people are like proud of you because the market says you're diamond hands and you're not gonna sell because you never sell your Bitcoin and all this kind of shit. And all you did was watch your profits go from, say, 1 million to 5 million back to 2, so that you can watch it next cycle go to 7, 8, or 9. Well, that's great. But why the hell didn't you sell it when it was at 5? To buy it back at 2, to buy over double the amount of it, and and the next time you see it go up, you make way more money. And the most of the time, the reason people don't do it is because they're too scared. They think if I sell now, it'll jump back up and I'll end up missing out or whatever. Or it's because everything around them says to them that there's something wrong with them if they choose to sell it. So to me, it just makes little to no sense. It's just lines and candles and levels on a chart, and they're going to go up, they're going to go down. If they close below certain levels, they're probably going to go down some more. Might they jump up to try to scare the shit out of you before they go down? Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, they're probably still just going to go down, and it's all just numbers and probabilities. And yeah, long story short, if everyone had just sold at 114, which I think was where I started unloading, they'd be pretty happier now, even if they missed the top. Like, who gives a shit? You missed 126, which was the measurable top, but a it was a tough measurable top. Like, I had very little confidence that this would, coming off a false sort of break, I had very little confidence that this was the top. So, pretty happy to be selling up around 114. And we're down here. And if we break these levels, well, we're going to go lower. And we have 47, 48. Depends how badly they want to knock it down. 31. $17. Buying in this area depending on timing and like how long does it take to get into here? How long do we spend in here? That's the next thing really. And then where do we go from there? Well, we know we have, I think 263 is the, or 209. So here is the next 3-level target, and here is the next 4-level target. So yeah, whatever. But even if you'd not made it to 126 and you'd unloaded there, you're doing pretty well. Yeah. Yeah, it's thing about these markets is it doesn't take very much. Look, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if everybody knows this, but see these tab syncing? You can choose a color, and then if whatever one of these ones that you've got synced, if you change it, it changes all the tabs. So, for example, if I was to go back to BTC on BitGet, it'll change all of these. Right click, tab syncing. So I had all of those changed to whatever that PY something or other, PayPal. Um, anyway, the thing for like price, like, could this travel up to some magical higher level? Absolutely. You know, the same thing that causes this sell down eventually could cause that to go up. Will it do it? Well, there's just not a lot of incentive for them to do it. Like at the moment, if you consider if you consider all this period here, people just keep thinking we're at a bottom, so they'll continue to long. So why not just take the longs? And at some point, they'll reverse this price and shoot up and break through these higher levels with volume. So let's say they were to go through this 1 hour. So 63,283, which is a in range origin. So that's kind of like a breakout level that's possible. If you were to set something like crossing up on that, if the price crosses up on here, closes above here, then yes, maybe you'll start to see a reversal. Other than that, they'll probably just keep on taking whatever longs open. And if longs think they're going to buy the dip, then the dip will just dip some more. And it's just how bear markets are. What's kind of weird about this bear market versus if you look at last bear market, uh, we haven't really had this decent, strong upwards rally, which sort of went from 32K to 48. Surprise, surprise, pretty much where the retest levels are across everything. Surprise, surprise. We haven't really had this kind of rally yet. A lot of levels. So you look at how fast this has fallen in the last few weeks. So from 89,000 down to 60K as a low, which was the 4-month low. We met the minimum obligation to push it back up to 68. Went a little bit higher, ticked a few more boxes, blah blah blah. But look at it now. Looking pretty bearish. So often what they talk about is they talk about trapping shorts. So if you were to do a move down and a move then back up to a higher level, quite often what it's about is about making people think, say here, that shorting is the best thing to do. And then you drop the price and you want it to look so bearish that people think here shorting is still the best thing to do. And then what you do is you trap them by bouncing up. Now, at that particular point, all these shorts are underwater because the price has bounced back up to there. What's then a little unusual is releasing them. So the fact that the price has just bled down and it's almost in this lower area now has almost released every single idiot who, well, every single word it however you want. Every single human who chose to chase the dump by shorting too low in this area to watch them go underwater to this area because of that bounce, they now are almost at the point where within this box here, they are at the point where they can exit, break even, or in profit. And that's unusual if markets are planning on doing this. If they're planning on going up, it's a little bit weird to let these people out of jail. So here we are. All right. I'm done. I'm going to sleep. And I'm not going to leave it running for like 7 hours or whatever tonight because then everyone will tease me tomorrow saying I fell asleep when in actual fact I actually am going to sleep, which is why I'm exiting the live stream. Meanwhile, this looks like poo. Good night, everybody.